gonna show you how to make a pom-pom using just your 2 fingers and some scissors. So first things first, because we're gonna attach this pom-pom to the bunny, we need to set aside some white yarn, about 4 arms length of white yarn that we are later going to use to sew the pom-pom onto the bunny's butt. Then we're going to take the rest of the white yarn and then wrap it around 2 of your fingers at least 30 times. If you have enough yarn left over to wrap it even more times than that, I would recommend doing that, because basically the more times you wrap this yarn around your hand, the fluffier the bunny tail will be, the fuller it's going to look. So I'm almost at 30. I don't have that much yarn left, so I'm actually just gonna wrap the entirety of it around my fingers. This one slipped loose, so I'm gonna put it back in there. All right, so I've got a big wad of yarn wrapped around my fingers. I'm gonna get that 4 arms length of white yarn back, and I'm going to carefully tie it around the middle of this giant wad of yarn. And I'm gonna tie it closer to one end of this 4 arms length of yarn, because I wanna leave essentially a tail to make it easy for me to thread a needle later and attach the tail to the bunny itself. All right, so I've made 1 knot. I like to just make another knot to be extra secure. And sometimes, even after making this knot, I even wrap it around 1 more time and then tie a knot on the other side. Maybe even double knotting the other side for good measure as well. And now the pom-pom creation begins. Do not cut the yarn that is this long piece of tail that we're going to use to attach to the bunny. Instead, you're going to cut everything else. So you're going to cut open the loops that you made on your fingers. So these loops, as well as the loops on the other side. And now, you may notice there's some stragglers that didn't get cut, so go ahead and snip away at those too. And you may look at this and say, this is a really ugly pom-pom. Don't worry, now is the time to basically give this ball of yarn a haircut. So you're just gonna trim it. Just go around in circles at all angles. And since you can never bring back yarn that you've trimmed away, I would recommend just trimming a little bit at first. Don't get too aggressive with it, at least until you're comfier with how the shape comes to be. So this can take a few minutes. I'm just gonna fast forward it until I'm done with my pom-pom. So to attach the pom-pom, we're going to thread a tapestry needle with that 4 arms piece of yarn that we saved and did not cut when we were shaping the pom-pom. And then we're going to find the center of the bunny's back. We're going to position the tail in the center, find a height that we like, check it out from all angles. We want the tail to be close to the floor. And then let's say we think that's pretty good. Notice how I have the yarn tail facing the body. That's because I want to make it easy to just stick the needle into the body and then around just 1 stitch. And then I'm gonna push the needle through an arbitrary point in the pom-pom and pull it tight. Now I'm going to put the needle back into the pom-pom, not in exactly the same spot because I want to secure the pom-pom with this yarn. So, but something pretty close, because I also don't want this yarn to be seen once the pom-pom's fully attached. And then I'm gonna stick the needle back in the hole that it just came out of in the body. And then back in the hole that it started in the body. Pull it tight. And then just repeat that process at least twice, so at least a total of 3 times, to make sure that the tail is really securely on the bunny. All right, so I'm going into the pom-pom and into the body one last time, and this time I'm just going to stick the needle all the way through the body to get the yarn tangled up in there and fully secure this pom-pom. And I see that, you know, it got a little bit indented here, so I'm just going to pull on the pom-pom a little bit so it becomes fluffy again. And just cut off the yarn tail that was poking out. And here you have it, a bunny with a pom-pom tail.